And gentlemen, the queens in the north, the Minnesota Roller Girls All-Stars! Number 8, Aaron Watershow. 101, switch please. 1128, Poisonberry Pie. 1400, Shock Therapy. 172, Shiva Shankin. Number 196, Super Salad. Number 26, Riot Chew. Number 32, Manila Ice. Number 422, Polly Punchkin. Number 5, Minnesota Blocker, number 5. Number 727, Gertrude Stein. Number 82, Brutal Brit. Number 84, Rio Volt. Number 98 degrees is Bipolar Bear. And number 99, Anti-Fascism. Your Minnesota Roller Girls All-Stars are coached by Max Becker, Husker Stu, and Breezes. As Minnesota and Windy take the track, the officials return. 30 minutes on the clock in this first half of 2. This is a regulation WFTDA game between the Windy City Rollers and the Minnesota Roller Girls. These teams, I believe this is their 13th time taking each other on over the last 12, 14, 15 years. Windy has the most wins.
And there was a tie.
And the most ties. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Air off! Switch please, jamming for Minnesota.
Ashley Perrin jamming for Windy City. Real name, yeah. Ashley Perrin through for lead jammer status for the Windy City Roller All-Stars.
Now, Ashley Perrin has skated against Minnesota numerous times. You know her as Killinois. But that 312 is still there and still scoring points. 4 points as Windy City hits the board first. Big thanks to our friends at Fiat Dental, Dentistry for the Joyful, for providing custom mouth guards to all Minnesota Roller Girls skaters and officials, keeping those pearly whites in their mouths.
Mia Goham jamming for Windy City in jam number 2 up against Shock Therapy.
If Jay Peterson is still here, we have your t-shirt down at the announcer booth. Jay Peterson.
Forearm penalty in the mix on a Minnesota blocker. Both jammers get recycled to the back of the pack. Windy City blocker Max Savage to the penalty box.
Rhea Volt's into the box as well with Brutal Brit. And it's another Windy City lead jam.
Mia Goham, and it's a power jam opportunity, track cut penalty on Shock Therapy. Mia Goham finds some room on the inside. 5 points so far for the team in white. Captain Ren Lavick out of the penalty box, leading the charge for Mia Goham.
Minnesota with that light pack right now, so that's a good, easy 5 points for Mia Goham, adding to Windy City's lead, 14-0 so far.
Mia gets ridden out on the outside. Shock Therapy back into the action for Minnesota. Gets ridden out of bounds by Bork.
Tap the inside and all the way to the back of the pack. Bork has been a thorn in Minnesota's side for many a year. And she keeps on keeping on. That's another 5 points for Windy.
15 points so far for Mia Goham. Looking for more. Apex jump. She hits it. 4 points.
And calls it off after a 19-point jam. Huge opener from Windy City. Minnesota with the goose egg at 0. 26 minutes, 50 seconds to go. And it looks like Bipolar Bear taking the jammer line for Minnesota up against Ashley Perrin for Windy City.
A short jammer rotation here for Windy City early going.
Whistle blows and here we go. Perrin through before she even got to the pivot line. Fantastic move there.
Minnesota keeping the pressure on, watching that pack form up. Windy City's trying to isolate on blockers. 3 points as Gertrude Stein was not a point.
Co-captain of Minnesota, Riot Shu, number 26. Now wearing the jammer star for Minnesota. For those of you watching at home on tv.mnrollergirls.com, you got Minnesota in black, Windy City in white and red.
Isabel Alenja, the jammer for Windy City. Up against Riot Shu for Minnesota. Isabel near the front, but the defense of Minnesota is still holding. They keep taking her down. Meanwhile, Riot Shu getting held up at the back of the pack by Animal Lee. Lead jammer goes to Isabel Alenja.
Riot Shu finally makes it through on her initial pass. Just as Windy calls it off. And it looks like 2 points scored by Windy, bringing them up to 28. 28-0 with just under 25 minutes to go in the first half. Anti-fascism wearing the jammer star now for Minnesota.
We get our first look at Bambi Bloodlust for Windy City. Good lateral movement from Anti-Fascism, trying to find an opening at the front of the pack. Phoebe Fifo Fump trying to hold her off with some help from Sugar Smacks and Kate and Destroy. Meanwhile, the Minnesota wall holding nicely at the back of the pack. Direction of play penalty in the mix. Lead jammer Bambi Bloodlust for Windy City.
5 lead jams for Windy City. And the score shows it 28-0 so far.
Anti-Fascism near the front. Gets slowed down by Regina Spector and Caden Destroy.
Fantastic front defense there from Windy City. And she does get called on the track cut there. Auntie didn't think that one of her skates did go out of bounds, but it was clear from our vantage point that it did. And the ref even closer look. 33-0, and now we're gonna have a power jam for Windy City.
Ashley Perrin, number 312, gonna take the star for Windy City as we occupy the pivot line.
Minnesota also with one blocker in the box as well.
Ashley Perrin near the front, able to get through. Lead jammer for Windy City. Ashley Perrin through. 5 points so far and going for more.
Tapped out by Bork. With eyes in the back of her head that can see through that giant mane of red hair.
It's extra interference, the hair.
And a track cut on Perrin. She'll be heading to the penalty box. That's the first break Minnesota's gotten in this game.
So an opportunity here for Minnesota now, as we've had a star pass to Rhea Volt.
Rhea Volt enters and makes the initial pass.
Track cut on Ren Lavick.
35 seconds left on the clock. Minnesota just trying to get a few points on the board, and they are. They start scoring with a grand slam. 5 big roller derby points.
Now both teams form up their walls, trying to slow down each opposing jammer. We're going the full 2 minutes in this jam. Bork with that leveling hit around turn 1. Points going up for both teams. 5 for Windy City, 2 more for Minnesota.
So Minnesota's on the board with 7. Windy City 43 with just over 20 minutes to go in the first half. Minnesota's jammer for this next jam will be switched, please. Number 101 going up against number 17, Mia Goham for Windy City.
Penalty box currently empty as we start things out in this jam.
Switch, please! Lead jammer, Minnesota!
First lead jammer status of the night for Minnesota as Gertrude Stein gets a recycling hit, slowing down Mia Goham.
And through again, grand slam! Switches through and calls it. Hits it and quits it. For 9 points, putting Minnesota up to 16. Windy City picks up 1 that jam to bring them up to 44. 19 minutes, 13 seconds to go in the first half. Looks like we got shock therapy on the line for Minnesota.
Isabel Alenja, the jammer for Windy City. Both jammers off the line, engaging those walls. The scrum is on. Multiplayer block.
Multi-announcer announced there. Multiplayer block on Windy. We'll send them to the box as well. Shock therapy recycled to the back of the pack.
Isabel finding some room on the inside. Your lead jammer for Windy City.
Direction of play penalty on number 451. That's Animal Lee taking a seat in the box.
Some penalty issues in this jam for Windy City. As Isabel engaging the pack. She calls it off. 1 more point for Windy City.
All that work for 1 single solitary point.
Oofta.
Oofta. You know, like woofta. Oofta.
We have Bambi again for Windy City. And is that bipolar pair for Minnesota?
Absolutely. Beeb's trying to speech by on the outside. Slaloming back and forth, trying to get past these windy blockers. Nearing the front of the pack. And she's through. Bipolar Bear, lead jammer, Minnesota. With that beautiful pageant wave to the crowd.
Bambi Bloodlust now clears on her initial pass, trying to limit the damage here. The jam's gonna end.
And Beebs calls it off after picking up an additional 3 points for Minnesota. That brings them up to 19 as they chip away at that Windy City lead. Still sitting pretty at 45, 16 and a half to go.
Ashley Perrin, the jammer for Windy City in this next jam.
Up against Switch Please. Our newest transfer from the DC Roller Girls from our nation's capital.
Switch Please, got a run on the outside. Lead jammer, Switch Please. A whistle blows in the pack. Minnesota blocker number 5 to the penalty box.
And has a definite back block there on Switch as she makes her way to the penalty box. And this becomes a windy power jam as the jammer star is passed to Rita Hateworthy, number 8.
Member of Team Finland, Rita Hateworthy on a scoring pass now. Taking some hits, goes down thanks to a hit from Rhea Volt. This tripod of Minnesota blockers holding nicely, killing the penalty well. Switch Please back in the mix. Bork is a recycling hit on Switch Please. Forearm penalty on Minnesota blocker number 5.
As time expires, 5 points scored by Windy, 3 by Minnesota. So Windy score jumps up to 50, whereas Minnesota is at 22. 14 minutes to go in this first half as Riot Shoe takes the track.
Up against Mia Goham for Windy City. One blocker down for Minnesota.
Oh, Ham knocked to the ground and out. And retreats to the back where she has to deal with Water Show and Punchkin, but makes it through around the inside, cut through. Fantastic move there by Mia Goham, and she gets lead jammer for the Windy City Rollers.
Recycling hit by Minnesota blocker number 5. Slowing down Mia Goham. Now Mia back at it near the front of the pack. Trying to get past Polly Punchkin. She does. 5 points to the sky.
Mia Goham sloughing off hits. And just keeps on keeping on. The star is passed to the pivot. Gertrude Stein, co-captain of the All-Stars, as the whistles blow. 12 and a half to go. Windy City picked up 5 points that jam to bring them up to 55. Minnesota at 22. And it looks like Anti-Fascism will be jamming for Minnesota up against Isabel Alenia for Windy City. Nice hit there by Manila Ice. And then the great ball of St. Paul takes on the back blocking action there. Shiva Shenkin sent to the box for a multiplayer penalty, multiplayer block.
Lead jammer, Isabel Alenja. Anti-Fascism trying to keep the pressure on. Isabel finds some room on the outside, quick 4 points, and calls it off.
Switch, please. Jam it for Minnesota up against Perrin. Number 312 for Windy City.
Both these jammers have had some success tonight. It's been a battle. Both of them putting up some good numbers. See how this jam plays out. And Ashley Perrin able to bounce to the inside, through for lead jammer. Switch, please, trying to limit the damage as the pack moving along at a pretty good pace right now. Minnesota has control of the front of the pack. And Ashley Perrin's going to call it off. 2 points go to Windy City.
0 for Minnesota in that jam. So with 10 and a half to go, it is a 40-point lead for Windy City, 62-22 over Minnesota. Bipolar Bear now wearing the jammer star for Minnesota. She's going up against, once again, Mia Goham for Windy City. So blows, and here we go. Both teams at full derby strength. That penalty box is empty, and Bipolar Bear is through. Bipolar Bear is through for lead jammer.
Pack picking up some pace as Minnesota tries to isolate on the pivot. Mia Goham with a late apex jump attempt. Didn't score any points, but 1 for Minnesota.
When you get a big hit like that, you want to thank all of our friends, our volunteer EMTs who put their butts on the line, really, by sitting on their butts, which is how we like to see them, where they don't have to do any work. We just give them a free ticket, and they're here in case anything goes terribly wrong. But our volunteer EMTs are simply the best in the business. Thank you so much for coming out every single bout.
Isabel Alenja Spinorama, lead jammer status for Windy City. Shock therapy, trying to keep the pressure on. Pack moving pretty slow right now, picking up a little bit around turns 3 and 4. Isabel hitting the pack, scoring 1 point, calling it off.
Now, if you were at the merch table today, if you were seeing some of our fine folks doing some track maintenance, you saw some familiar faces. That's because the last bout of the year is when our volunteers get to take the night off and our skaters take over for our volunteers. Big thanks to all of our volunteers in the merch and security and production that do us such a great job all season long. Thank you so much from the Minnesota Roller Girls.
Switch, please, near the front of the pack. Gets ridden out of bounds by Bork, who also got knocked out of bounds. Bambi Bloodlust, the jammer for Windy City, getting held up at the back of the pack.
Switch, please. Lead jammer for Minnesota.
Direction of play penalty on Shiva Shenkin. of Minnesota.
Switch on her scoring pass. Try to get through on the inside there. But Bork, I don't think she gets enough attention for the fantastic one-woman defense clinic she puts on every single game she plays. It took a long time for Switch to get through on that first scoring pass. And that's a testament to the fantastic defense of Windy City, focused on Bork. Oh, huge hit again from Bork, just as I say her name. On Switch, please.
We get a zebra huddle to see if there are any points. Two.
So that's a 7-point jam for Minnesota, 0 points for Windy there. That brings Minnesota up to 30.
Ashley Parent now for Windy City. Is that bipolar bear again for Minnesota? Yes, it is. Ashley Parent getting knocked out of bounds, but she's right back at it. Gertrude Stein making her presence known in this jam for Minnesota. The wall for Windy City is holding pretty well at the back of the pack. Phoebe Fifo Fum keeps getting position. Cutting the track penalty on Bipolar Bear. Power jam opportunity for Windy City. As Ashley Parent's gonna go way back into turn number 2. And give it another go. We still don't have a lead jammer. This defense of Minnesota has been tenacious.
Parent gets tapped out. But then PB 5-0 Fum takes out Super Salad, also known as Mad Rad.
Another whistle blows out there, track cut, this time on Ashley Parent, and a power jam, and not lead jammer is Bipolar Bear.
And beats us through. Grand Slam, Minnesota. Four more points for Minnesota for a 9-point jam, bringing them up to 39. Windy City with a 24-point lead with 4 minutes, 15 seconds remaining. And here you see on the instant replay, Beebs making her way through for that second scoring pass. The first scoring pass, pardon me.
And we get a power start for Switch, please. Trying to build some momentum here as Ashley Parent starts the jam in the penalty box.
Multiplayer block on Windy, and Switch is your lead jammer.
And a penalty on the pivot, Mia go ham for Windy City. And Ashley Parent gets a recycling hit on Switch, please.
There's some great jammer defense there. Four points for Minnesota from Switch, please. Parent still trying to make her initial pass through the pack. And Switch! 5 big roller derby points!
Bork gets the jammer takedown.
Yeah, another huge hit from Bork.
And we have had a star pass to Mia go ham for Windy City.
Switch calls it off in time for additional 3 points for a 12-point jam from Switch, please, bringing Minnesota up to 51. 12-point lead still for Windy City, who jumped ahead very early, but Minnesota's been chipping away as much as they can. And we have
an official timeout.
Looks like Minnesota's head coach, Max Becker, out there chatting with head ref Spike. They're just having a chat. I don't know if there's going to be an official review just yet, but join us on the road as the Minnesota Knights take on Omaha and No Coast on April 22nd in Omaha, Nebraska. And then in Madison, Wisconsin, the weekend of May 20th and 21st. Both teams will be making an appearance at Utter Chaos. The Utter Chaos, utter like a cow.
Move.
And it looks like what happened during that little break there. It's Minnesota blocker number 5 ended up getting an insubordination penalty for not making it to the box. So that is a full minute in the box, plus 2 tick marks against you.
And this jam is going to be Isabel Alengia and Riot Shoe for Minnesota near the front of the pack, getting rid out by Regina Spektor. Lead jammer goes to Isabel Alengia, trying to get things back on track for Windy City. As momentum had definitely shifted in Minnesota's favor. Regina Spektor making her presence known in this jam. Another jammer takedown. Isabel Spinorama, 5 points.
Riot Shoe still trying to make her initial way through. A definite size disadvantage as the small but scrappy skater is just getting beat up back there by these very tough Windy blockers.
And
star pass to Minnesota blocker number 5, and she becomes Minnesota jammer number 5. And she's a blocker again. You can change your name mid-game.
Mid-game?
Yeah, sure. It's in the rules.
I'm PJ Bottoms now. I've decided.
Your name is now PJ Hollingsworth.
How about Harry don't carry? And that's going to bring us to the halftime, as there are 30 seconds between jams.
Windy City did finish strong going into the half with that 10-point jam. And they lead 73-51. Quality will go until bar close, until they kick us out. Switch, please, wearing the jammer star. and is your lead jammer.
Switch, please.
Switch will call it off as Mia Goham got through. Plus Isabel, pardon me.
We'll have 7.
Ashley Perrin wearing the jammer star for Windy City up against Bipolar Bear for Minnesota. 73-51 win in favor of Windy City. We got a new half hour on the clock.
Both jammers hitting the deck. Penalties being issued.
Beams is through. Bipolar Bear, lead jammer, Minnesota.
Bipolar Bear on the outside, through for 5 points. We get a star pass to Rita Hateworthy for Windy City. Rita Hateworthy near the front, able to get through. As Bipolar Bear racking up some points. Another 4 points awarded for a 9-point jam for Minnesota.
60-73 in favor of Windy City with 28 minutes, 9 seconds. Plenty of time on this clock as Shock Therapy takes the line for Minnesota. Up against Mia Goham for Windy City. Whistle blows and we are off once again. Shock Therapy, lead jammer, Minnesota.
Track cut penalty. That's going to be a Mia Goham power jam opportunity for Minnesota.
Shock Therapy, 5 big roller derby points.
Shock Therapy near the front of the pack, dealing with that defense from Windy City, gets recycled back. Mia Goham out of the penalty box, back into the action. Getting recycled back after getting ridden out of bounds on the outside.
Shock Therapy, 5 points once more through the breach, my friends.
And it's going to be a track cut on Mia Goham. She's going back to the penalty box. Penalty issues here for Windy City. Phoebe Fifo fumbled to the box at 5 more for Minnesota.
And Minnesota takes the lead. And Windy City takes a timeout. You know, I thought they were all extinct, but up there with the Aquaman army, there's a Tyrannosaurus that is a big fan of the Minnesota Roller Girls All-Stars, and she's up there cheering for our fine team. Minnesota Roller Girls is very proud to have our new sponsor, Brick Mania. You can find their custom Lego kits from all sorts of stuff. You can find historic military, you can find sci-fi, you can find fun, exciting events, pop culture, and of course, you can now find the Minnesota Roller Girls, and you can find them at their store at the Mall of America, Brickmania.
We'll have a power start for Switch, please. Trying to keep the momentum going here for Minnesota.
Lee Jammer Switch, please. Manages the tippy-toe throw. 4 points for Switch.
Mia Goham able to clear on her initial pass. Switch, please, on another scoring pass. Getting spun around and calling it off.
8-point jam for Switch, adding to Minnesota's lead. And now at 10. Minnesota 83, Windy City 73. Plenty of game left to go. As you're seeing the instant replay where Switch just cut her way through there, right through the middle of that pack and became your lead jammer. Whistle blows and here we go. Bipolar Bear up against. Here you go, Ham. Against Isabel Alenia.
Both jammers take a knee in almost the same spot as they both got taken down. Both back at it again, however. Minnesota gets a recycle on Isabel. Another recycle on Isabel. Pack getting split up a little bit. Bipolar near the front, trying to get through. A whistle blows. I think we got a power. I think. Polar Bear to the penalty box. So power jam opportunity here for Windy City. Isabel still on that initial pass. Lead jammer. Windy City. Isabel gets ridden out of bounds and recycled back as Bipolar Bear out of the penalty box. Back into the action. And Isabel on one skate able to stay in bounds. And call the jam after scoring 5 points for Windy City.
Cutting a lead to only 5 for Minnesota, 78-83. 22 and a half to go in this game. Ryan Shu wearing the Jammer Star for Minnesota, up against Perrin for Windy City.
Ashley Perrin now for Windy City. Up against Riot Chu for Minnesota.
Whistle blows, and here we go.
Ashley Perrin, one blocker to beat. Now 2 as
Raichu! Electric Soldier Pokemon makes it through and is your lead jammer for Minnesota. Through the inside, round the inside, 5 big roller derby points.
Minnesota's defense has definitely picked it up by the second half of play here as Raichu with a big jam for Minnesota, putting up 9 points to extend their lead.
92-78 now for Minnesota, a 14-point lead. with 21 minutes left in this game. Mia Go Ham taking the jammer line right now, up against Switch Please for Minnesota. Switch with a shot to the face. Holding her nose, hopefully she's all right.
Regina Spektor with the saving hit, allowing Mia Go Ham a chance to get through for lead jammer status. Track cut penalty out there. I'm not sure who it's on. It appears to be on Switch Please. So power jam here for Mia Go Ham.
Minnesota's defense just swarms Mia Go Ham, eventually taking her out.
Three more points for Windy City, narrowing the gap
to 11. Late penalty call on Super Salad, sent her to the box.
Two blockers down for Windy City to start things out. Bipolar Bear takes advantage, gets lead jammer status.
Shot out of a cannon, straight through that Windy defense.
Star pass to Windy City blocker number 5, Entropy.
Entropy is through. Picks up 4 points for Windy City. Bipolar Bear fighting her way through and calls it after picking up an additional 4. So an 8-point jam brings Minnesota to the century mark. They're at 100, and 4 points for Windy will bring them up to 85. It's a 15-point lead for Minnesota with 18 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in this game. Isabel Alenja taking the jammer line for Windy City up against Anti-Fascism, number 99 for Minnesota.
Penalty box empty to start things out as both jammers begin the fray. Minnesota's wall holding nicely so far at the back of the pack. Bork running some nice interference for Windy City.
Anti-Fascism, brand new skater this year on the Rockets, now making her way on the Minnesota Roller Girls All-Stars and is your lead jammer. Oh, and it looks like that is going to be a low block penalty.
Took out the legs of Isabel Alenja.
Yeah, she was knocked to the ground, and before you knew it, Isabel Alenja tripped over her. But that's why you got to fall small.
Polly Punchkin with the big hit on Isabel. Gets the jammer takedown.
Anti's back, but Bork is ready for her. And Windy gets that big 4-wall up in front. This jam is going for the full 2 minutes. Andy just trying to get her hips in front of other hips. Oh, makes a break for it. Picks up 4.
And 2 minutes are up. Hard fought 4-0 jam for Minnesota. I'm sorry, 4-3. My bad.
So Minnesota only really makes 1 point on the differential. 104-88 with 15 minutes, 39 seconds remaining. And we have a timeout. Official timeout. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh. I can't believe the Aquaman army is being chased. That's Hunter shot first, being chased by a giant T-Rex. Good Lord. Or maybe they're friends and having a dance party. Okay. And now Hunter shot first is chasing the T-Rex.
Everybody do the dinosaur. As we're rejoin the action here, Mia Goham jamming for Windy City. Switch, please, for Minnesota. Switch, please, engaging that front pack for Minnesota of Windy City, I mean.
Oh, a little friendly fire. As Shivashenko was trying to help out, switch please.
Both teams' defensive holding very nicely here. But now, switch please is through for lead Jim. And recycling hit for Windy City. Recycling switch please back. As we've had a star pass to Rita Hateworthy. Absorbing a lot of hits, but Rita Hateworthy's through.
Yeah, Rita Hateworthy just sloughed off those big hits from those Minnesota blockers like it was nothing.
5-point jam for Minnesota. Extending their lead with 14 minutes remaining. Ashley Perrin now for Windy City. Bipolar Bear for Minnesota. Both defensive have a similar strategy, but Bipolar Bear near the front. Sugar Smacks, the last line of defense. Outside the engagement zone, they let her go.
Bipolar Bear, lead jammer, Minnesota.
Phoebe 5-0 trying to run some interference for Ashley Perrin at the front. Minnesota's defense is staunch. Multiplayer block on Minnesota as Phoebe 5-0 gets the star pass.
So Aaron Watershow takes a seat in the box. 2 points were scored by Minnesota, that jam, bringing them up to 111 with 12 and a half to go. Windy City has 88.
Isabel Alengia for Windy City. Shock Therapy jamming for Minnesota. One blocker down for Minnesota as we start things out. Isabel tried the inside, she didn't make it. As Shock Therapy tried the outside, didn't make it. Shock Therapy.
Shock Therapy! Lead jammer, Minnesota.
Isabel through on her initial pass. Shock Therapy through to score 4 more points. Extending the lead, killing some clock. Minnesota in control.
Shock hits it and quits it. Picking up those 4 points to bring them up to 115. Windy City with 88. That's a 27-point lead. I could do basic arithmetic, I've found.
I struggle with it. Both jammers towards the back of the pack as Mia Goham gets ridden out of bounds.
And the track cut on Mia Goham. Some great defensive moves there by Minnesota. Rather than big hits, they're just using it, pushing her out and playing a little fancy footwork to trick jammers into going in front of them. Lead jam status goes to switch, please.
Switch, please. One blocker to beat at the front of the pack. 5 more.
5 points. And another 5. As Mia returns to the track. Oh, beautiful footwork there by a switch, please. Four points for Switch as she joins starts another scoring pass. She's already scored 14. Switch is a little slow to get up. That was a big hit, might have knocked the wind out of her.
Star pass to Phoebe Fife-Ofum for Windy City.
As Switch calls it off after scoring an additional 4 points for a total of 18-0 jam there as Minnesota takes a larger lead now, 133-88. 9 minutes to go in this game. Actually, it looks like we get a 19-point jam instead. Minnesota now at 134.
Bipolar Bear trying to keep things going here for Minnesota up against Ashley Perrin. Bork gets the recycling hit for Windy City.
Oh boy, big hit by Bork once again.
Ashley Perrin is lead jammer for Windy City. Ashley Perrin through. 5 points for Windy City.
Minnesota loses the jammer star. Totally legal for Windy City to try and block her from picking it up. She does eventually.
Ashley Perrin through for another 5 points. She's got 10 so far. And Ashley Perrin calls it off. The Zebras will discuss to see if there's any more points. 3 more points for Windy. 13-point jam.
And that puts Windy past the 100-point mark at 101. Minnesota with a 33-point lead with 7 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in this game.
Coming down this stretch now, time running out for Windy City. Minnesota up 33 points. Oh, and a forearm penalty on Raichu. Opportunity for Bambi Bloodlust. She's your lead jammer for Windy City. Second jam in a row for lead jammer for Windy City after a long drought. Five to the sky for Bambi Bloodlust. Caton destroyed to the penalty box for Windy City. Sugar Smacks with the recycling hit for Windy City.
Raichu trying to find a hole, get through. Windy doing a great job of recycling in front of her. And she finally does. An additional 4 points scored by Windy on that second pass for a total of 9. That brings Windy City up to 110. Minnesota with 0 points on that jam. Still sitting pretty at 134. That's a 24-point lead with 5 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in this game.
A small pack to start the next jam. 2 blockers down for Minnesota, 1 blocker down for Windy City. Isabel Alenja against shock therapy for Minnesota. Isabel trying the outside. Connects with Reavolt, but keeps it going. Lead jammer, Isabel Alenja, 3rd jam in a row for Windy City. Tiptoe on that outside line. 5 points, Isabel Alenja.
Oh boy, round the inside for 5 points for Windy. 120.
Isabel quickly through Spinorama around the outside. She's
My goodness.
15 so far.
It's a 10-point game.
And Isabel's gonna call it off. We'll see if she got any more. No more.
But a nice 15-point jam for Windy there, bringing them up to within striking distance. Minnesota 134, Windy City 9 points behind at 125. 4 minutes, 6 seconds to go in this game.
Not much time left on that clock as we have a timeout called by Minnesota. They're gonna talk things over.
Big thanks once again to our friends at Fiat Dental, dentistry for the joyful, for providing custom mouth guards to all of our skaters and officials. Don't worry if you don't take care of your teeth, they'll just go away. We'd also love if you all would join us, well, all of you 21 years of age and over, at Camp Bar at 490 North Robert Street, right here in beautiful downtown St. Paul, where there'll be tunes for the dancing, drinks for the drinking, and I don't know, other sort of fun and frivolity. Camp Bar. There might be fights. I don't know. It's a pretty chill place.
We don't want to.
It's a pretty chill place. And thanks to each and every one of you who bought a ticket to come tonight and all through this season. You made season 14 one of our best ever. Thank you so much. We've got so many things planned for season 15, which will start in 6 short months in October.
We got Mia Gohan versus Switch Please. An odd start to the jam as neither jammer moved. Switch Please gets recycled back. Mia Goham having a hard time with that 3 tripod up at the front. Pile up in turn 1. Switch Please near the front.
Oh boy! Lead jam goes to Switch Please.
And it's a power jam for Switch Please. Track cut penalty on Mia Goham.
Oh, nearly made it. Checking with referee on the inside to make sure that she might not have made that cut. 3 points scored by Switch Please. Minnesota 137, Windy City 12 points behind at 125. 2 minutes, 47 seconds remaining in this game.
A power start.
And there has not been a game this evenly matched since June 16th, 2012, right here at the Roy. The infamous only tie game in WFTDA history between these very two teams. There we go! Bipolar Bear!
Bipolar Bear right up the middle, able to get through.
Bipolar Bear helps with a little defense there, helps out Brutal Brit. Trying to keep Mia Goham. Mia makes it through on her initial pass. As Beams calls it off after scoring an additional 4 points for a total of 9 on that jam.
Timeout being called by Machete Page of Windy City.
As you can watch that instant replay, where Bipolar Bear just picked up lead jam there. Hey, once again, thanks to each and every one of you who came tonight. And we sold out of the entire first run of Minnesota Roller Girls minifigs from our friends at Brickmania. But don't worry, you'll have your chance to purchase them again very soon. Keep an eye out on our website, our Facebook and Instagram pages. We'll tell you where and how you will be able to purchase these fantastic new Minnesota Roller Girls minifigs. And it looks like this is going to be a windy power jam to finish the game.
A track cut at the end of the jam on Minnesota's jammer. So Ashley Perrin.
So all that Bipolar Bear can do right now for the next 30 seconds is sit in that penalty box and watch her teammates try to hold off one of the toughest jammers in the game, Ashley Perrin.
Bipolar Bear's gonna get a chance.
Oh, huge hit from Gertrude Stein! Huge hit from Gertrude Stein! Takes out Perrin.
Lead jam goes to Ashley Perrin for Windy City. They call off the time. They call a timeout immediately.
There is going to be about 1 or 2 seconds remaining on the clock. So you are going to get one more jam here, people. Windy City down by 21 points. 1 second, less than 1 second remaining on the clock. So to win, Windy City has to get lead jam status and score. Yeah, and score at least 5 more times, score 21 points. And hold off Switch Please from scoring even a single point.
We're in a timeout. That was the end of the timeout.
3 seconds remaining on the clock. Whistle blows and we're off.
Now this will be the last jam. Both jammers furiously trying to get lead jammer status.
Trying to push, claw their way through. Switch is pushed to the inside, has to retreat. One more to beat. She does! Switch Please! Lead jammer calls it off! Minnesota wins! Minnesota wins! But my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, what a fight put on by the Windy City Rollers. What a fantastic game from these two teams. This is one of the longest rivalries in the history of women's flat track roller derby. And each time these two teams get together, it is a magic situation.
We have an official review. The game is not over.
Looks like Windy City's coaches are going to attempt an official review here.
We may need you to step back. We may need you fans to step back. We don't know yet. But be aware.
So Windy City's coaches are launching an official review here. We don't know what it's for just yet. But made it a smart move when they have that official review left. If there's a chance that anything can change. We'll see what's about to happen as the referees are conferring. Yeah. We shouldn't tell them. They should tell. All right, and that is going to be the official review does not hold. Your winners, the Minnesota Roller Girls All-Stars. Thank you so much to each and every one of you fine folks who came out to the Roy tonight, who fought that WCHA hockey traffic. Thanks to each and every one of you who made their way here from Chicago to watch your hometown team take on the Frozen North. And how about a hand for the Windy City Rollers All-Stars? Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for a fantastic season 14. We will see you back here in October, but keep in touch with us via social media and via our website all summer long, where you're gonna see us travel all over the world for some exciting roller derby action. Plus, we got a lot of fun happening here at home. Thank you so much, and please drive safely.